My eyes ache. There's a terrible weight on my head. I hold on for others. And giving up too soon is proclaiming a defeat. God winds you up and you go until he stops you. A very strange and solemn feeling is coming over me.
Miss Alcott.
No! No! Let me rest first! It is not meningitis! I want to go on writing as my head is full. You had better let me finish, and then I will take your treatments. No. Go away. I am busy. When I had my youth, I had no money. Now I have money, I have no time, and when I get the time, if I ever do, I will have no health to enjoy it. No, go away! Go away! Miss Alcott is not at home! No spot is safe. No hour sacred. I want to step out the back window and not emerge when the hunters enter, even when a bell is rung to inform me that the peril is past. How in the world did you get here? Who let you in? I didn't invite you. Miss Alcott did not. All right. You want to see Miss Alcott. Well, she is not at home at present. I'm sure she'll be very disappointed that she missed you, but oh well. As long as you're here, I suppose you may see the desk where the great authoress sits. But between you and me, she prefers to sit in a corner, writing and eating apples, writing away sometimes as much as 14 hours a day, wrapped in her glory cloak. Oh, you want to know what a glory cloak is? Well, it's a colorful cape that her mother made for her to wear to a party many, many years ago. She loves it, and she still wears it. Me? Oh, I'm Maggie, the housemaid. Yes, I suppose I could have been a model for Hannah, the servant in the March household in Little Women. You love Little Women, don't you? Myself, I don't hold with girls' things. Don't like girls much. Oh, present company excluded, of course. But you know the stories I like best? Stories like Pauline's Passion, or A Fatal Love Chase, or The Rival Prima Donnas. Stories by Mr. A.M. Barnard. Oh, don't tell Miss Alcott that I said so. She would not approve of her servant reading such lurid tales. those are the stories that she liked best when she was young. Just like Jo March. And I suppose there are many similarities between Miss Alcott and Jo March. They both love to run, miles and miles sometimes. And of course they both love to write. And Miss Alcott had 3 sisters, just like Jo March. Her older sister, Anna, is the spitting image of Meg March. And Miss Alcott loves her fiercely, just like Jo loved Meg. And of course they argue sometimes, like all sisters do. Oh, but not as much as Jo used to argue with Amy Christopher Columbus. You know, she named the youngest March girl Amy because, like her youngest sister, May, Amy is spoiled and pretty and very talented with her paintbrush. And of course, the middle child, Beth. Mustn't forget her. Beth, who loved to play the piano. And yes, Beth really did die. That is a bit of truth that Miss Alcott insisted she include in her book. I really must get back to work. Miss Alcott would not be pleased if she saw that her house was not in order. She has been a servant and a laundress and a seamstress herself, and she can get very cross if I do not keep things to her liking. And oh yes, Miss Alcott can be very cross. She gets the blues, as she calls them, and then she sits here, gazing out of the window for hours. She gets the blues sometimes when she worries about money or her family. And I think she feels sorry for herself sometimes, which she has a perfect right to do. She has worked very hard for a very long time, and she is the golden goose, as she calls it, or the main provider for her entire family. Her father, Mr. Bronson Alcott, could never make very much money. He tried to start many schools, but all of them failed. But he is a very good, wise, good man who has written many books. And he is a friend of Mr. Henry David Thoreau and Mr. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Mrs. Alcott, or Marmee, had to do most of the real work in the family. She had to work very hard just to keep her family fed and a roof over our head. I mean, their head. You really must leave. Miss Alcott would not be happy if she came home and found her servant gossiping with visitors. Oh, don't worry. I will take your autograph albums and ask Miss Alcott to sign them and write you some messages. And, what are you looking at? Oh, yeah, yes, the portrait. Yes, that is Miss Alcott. Not a very flattering likeness, I think, but authentic. What, you think I look like her? No. We are nothing alike. No. Don't be silly. Oh, all right. You have caught me out. Yes, I am Miss Alcott. I did not intend to play so long. I got carried away. I'm sorry for the deception. I acted on the stage many times, you know. My sister, Anna, you know her as Meg, and I used to write many plays together, and we would act them out for our family and friends. Anna, or as I sometimes call her, Nan, or Annie, is a happily married woman now, and very busy with her husband and her children. But I still perform from time to time. Oh, I'm very much out of practice. The only piece I seem to remember is Mrs. Jarley from the Old Curiosity Shop by Mr. Charles Dickens. And I can't seem to find a costume. Well, imagine, if you will, that I am dressed in a green stuff gown with a short skirt, and I have a collar wide enough to be a cape, and I am wearing pink stockings, and I have green slippers that lace up, and I have a bonnet of green silk lined with pink, and with an assertive feather that nods emphasis on all my words. My hair is dressed in puffs along the side of my face, and I am wearing silver spectacles. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to have the honor to welcome you to the world's finest waxworks, Charlie's Waxworks. These figures are suited and fitted to instill moral lessons into the minds of infants, warm the burning heart of youth, and cheer the tottering eye of age. Here we have Jasper Pickles, represented in killing one of his 14 wives. He destroyed all of them by tickling their feet when they were sleeping. When brought to the scaffold and asked if he weren't sorry, he said, yes, he was sorry for having let them off so easy, and he hoped that all Christian husbands would forgive him the offense. And here we have Captain Kidd, represented in the act of spilling the blood of Lady Boadicea Fitz's battle axe. An heroic miss, who became victim to his sword. With Spartan firmness, she refused to betray the hiding place of her venerable parent, Lord Coriolanus Herculaneum, who, with the usual courage of his sex, hid himself behind a head hoop, leaving his daughter to enjoy that one right of womanhood that all women are permitted to enjoy, that of martyrdom. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to thank you for your respectful attention during the exhibition, and to solicit your willingness to attend the future on behalf of Charlie's Waxworks. Joe's boys. The final chapter. No, chapter 3. Joe's final script. I used to love writing about Mrs. Joe, hiding from the autograph seekers and pretending to be a housekeeper, just like me. based in truth. Yes, Mr. Niles, and it was not the last time that I ignored your advice to cut a few pages. No, not yet. I'm going on a journey, and I must pack my go-abroad possessions and tumble the rest into big boxes with the instruction that if I don't return to make a bonfire of them. I used to imagine my mind a room in confusion, and I was to put it in order. But I'm not a good housekeeper. Oh, I can see that useless thoughts and fancies have got in. I must sweep and dust them away. But not all. Not all. We have accounts and memoranda. Oh, so many letters. Concord, Boston, Roxbury, Rome, and London. Oh, Paris, Venice, and Nice. Notes for scripts. Scenes from Dickens. Betsy Trotwood and David Copperfield. Sarah Gamp and Betsy Prig from Bleak House. The Old Curiosity Shop, whence came Mrs. Jarley's Waxworks. And I have not completed my Betsy Trot. There's plenty of time. Oh, my journals. Which ones to keep? Which ones to sweep out and burn? I burned one of these. But she asked me to. But did I silence her voice forever? 1842. 10 years old. 1845, 13. 1851, 19. 1856. 1866. 67. 68. 77. Yes, 1887 and 88. Oh, very thin. 1887, I turned 55. It was not a good year. I hope that 1888 will be better. In looking over our journals, Father writes, Anna's is about other people. Louisa's about herself. It is true. I'm always thinking of the willful, moody girl, and I try to manage, and in my journals I write of her to see how she gets on. My quick tongue is always getting me into trouble, and my moodiness makes it hard to be cheerful when I think how poor we are and how much worry it is to live and how many things I long to do that I never can. Louis. Who's that? Mother. Yes. I am now 13 and I have got that little room that I wanted for so long. Mother has made it very neat and pretty for me, and the door that opens out into the garden will be very pretty in the summer, and I can run in the woods whenever I want. And went for a run today. I stopped at the end of the walk and looked out over the sunshine, over the wide meadows, as if for me alone. It seemed like going through a dark life or a grave into heaven beyond. A very strange and solemn feeling came over me as I stood there. It seemed as if I felt God, and I prayed in my heart that I would feel that happy nearness all my life. I have made a plan for my life, as I am in my teens now and no longer a child. I am old for my age, and I don't care much for girls' things. People think I'm wild and strange, but Mother understands and helps me. I've not told anyone about my plans, but I'm going to be good. I was cross today, and I cried when I went to bed. I made good resolutions and felt better in my heart. If only I kept all I make, I should be the best girl in the world. But I don't, and so am very bad. I will do something by and by. Don't care what. Teach, sew, write, act, anything to help the family, and I will be rich and famous and happy before I die. See if I won't. I am 17 and packing up my little trunk of homemade clothes, and with $20 earned by sending stories to the Gazette and a pile of sewing that I did, I set forth with Mother's blessing one rainy day in the dullest month of the year, November, my birthday month. Not always a happy time for me, but I love birthdays and presents and my family. Our family Bible. This has a record of all our births and some deaths. My father, Louisa Alcott, was born in 1799 on November 29th. We share the same birthday. On this day, I am 11 years old. Father is 44. We had some nice presents. We played in the snow before school. Father asked us what troubled us most. I said my bad temper. My dear mother, Louisa May Alcott, was born October 8th, 1880. Dear Marma, I have spent a very pleasant morning, but I hardly dare speak to Annie for fear she should speak unkindly and get me angry. Oh, she is so very, very cross. I cannot love her. It seems as though she did everything to trouble me, but I will try to love her better. I hope you have spent a pleasant morning. Please accept this bookmark from your very affectionate daughter, Louisa. P.S. It is not very pretty, but it is all I have. My sister, Annie, Nan, Alcott Pratt was born in November 1849. Dearest Nan. No, I wrote her in November 1849. She was born in March 16th, 1831. Dearest Nan, I'm so glad to hear from you and glad to know that all are well. I'm rubbing away as usual, trying to get money enough to buy Mother a nice warm shawl. I have $9, all my own earnings. 5 for a story and 4 for the pile of sewing I did. I am born in 1832 on November 29th. Birthdays are dismal times for me. I don't know why. June 24th, 1835, Elizabeth Sewell Alcott is born. Our dear Beth, who we also called Lizzie and sometimes Betty. For our good little Betty, who is wearing the old gowns we left, I shall soon be able to buy a new one and send it with my blessing to the cheerful saint. Oh, and last, but certainly not least, our golden girl, Abigail May Alcott, is born July 26th, 1840. I got a crimson ribbon for a bonnet for me, and I took my straw and fixed it nicely with some little duds I had. She is so graceful and pretty and loves beauty so much. It is hard for her to be poor and wear other people's ugly things. Christmas won't be Christmas without any presents, grumbled Joe, lying on the rug. It's so dreadful to be poor, sighed Meg, looking down at her old dress. I don't think it's fair for some girls to have plenty of pretty things and other girls to have nothing at all, said little Amy with an injured sniff. We have Father and Mother and each other, said Beth contentedly from her corner. I'm 18. I want something to do. I have tried teaching and hate it. Sewing is bad for my eyes and my health, and writing is not profitable, and I dare not scandalize my relatives by turning actress. At this time, my mother serves as a city missionary and serves the poor. She also helps certain decayed gentlefolk in finding household help. One morning, a ministerial gentleman appears before us, looking for a companion or gentle friend for my sister, who is an invalid. This companion will be treated like a member of the household in all respects, and will only be required to help with the lighter work. In my home, there is a piano and flowers and pictures and books to enjoy. I step forward boldly and offer myself as a gentle friend. My ever-vigilant mother says, "What are wages, sir?" Oh, let us not use words such as those. Money matters little to us. But be assured that this person, who comes to lend their youth and strength in our feeble household, will not be forgotten in the end, I assure you. Louisa, are you certain you wish to undertake a service position? I don't mind being a companion if I can do it well. And your reputation. My aristocratic ancestors don't feed or clothe me, and my democratic ideas of honesty and honor won't let me be idle or dependent. But I'll stay if you say so. just the proper time for a heroine to appear. And as no one answers my modest solo on the rusty knocker, I open the door and walk in to a long hallway filled with shadows where I'm sure ghosts walk at midnight. Peeping in at an opposite door, I behold a luxurious study full of the warm glow of firelight and the balmy breath of hyacinths and roses, the white glimmer of piano keys, and rows upon rows of tempting books along all the walls. A third door shows me a dull sitting room where an old man sits napping in his easy chair, and the housekeeper, with a kindly face, sits buttering toast and conversing with a comfortable gray cat. She takes me to a tiny room where I stow my possessions, and then returning to the drawing room, I find the old man awake, and my invalid, Miss Eliza, creeps in like a little mouse. I forget my own shyness in trying to relieve hers when oh, my young friend, as you see, our habits are similar. I quite enjoy simplicity, and I like to find my study in order when I come down in the morning. Oh, I very much like to have order about me too when I study, and I shall permit you to perform this light task, for I am sure that you will respect the sanctuary of thought. Yes. I have a list of my dietary requirements, which he proceeds to enumerate in exhaustive order. Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir, I will remember. I will not forget the drop eggs for breakfast, sir. The next morning, I rise very early and am having a good prowl among the books when a gusty sigh interrupts me. Oh! Oh, nay, do not fly. It pleases me to see you here, and lends a sweet domestic charm to my solitary room. I like that graceful cap, that housewifely apron, and I beg you will wear them often, for it refreshes my eye to see something so tasteful, young, and womanly about me. At first, I accept his fraternal invitation to visit his study, feeling that when my work is done, I have earned the right to rest and read. But I soon find out that is not the idea. I am not to read, but to be read to. I am not to enjoy the flower pictures and books, but to keep them in order for my lord to enjoy. I am also to be a passive bucket, into which he is to pour all manner of philosophical, metaphysical, and sentimental rubbish. I am to serve his needs, soothe his sufferings, and empathize with all his sorrows. Be a galley slave, in fact. I've been as long as I can, but when he corners me in the kitchen while scrubbing the hearth, oh! Yeah! I came to be a companion to your sister. and not to you. And I will keep that post, or none. You gave me false reports of this place and what my duties were to be, and I will not stay unless matters are mended. I would infinitely prefer to scrub this hearth than listen to you read Hegel to me without an offer of an opportunity to voice my own thoughts or opinions. And now, let me get back to work, for my job is not to listen to you spout philosophy. What do you do with a drunken sailor? What do you do with a drunken sailor? What do you do with a drunken sailor early in the morning? After that day, the roughest work of the house is added to my share. I stand by my promise to stay a month and count the hours of the last week. But when I announce my intention to leave, there is much dismay in the household, and so I agree to stay a few more days until they can find someone to replace me. I write post-haste to my mother, telling her to send a substitute quickly, or I might do something desperate. The Blessed Woman advises me to be patient and do the generous thing. 3 mortal weeks I wait. For though 2 victims come, they quickly flee away in a matter of days. I care not for the arrival of a 3rd, but announce my departure by the next train. There is weeping and moaning, and the Reverend hides himself in his room and forbids me to say farewell because he cannot bear it. My invalid Eliza creeps in at the last minute and timidly puts a small pocketbook in my hand. The housekeeper kisses me kindly and says, "Oh, don't blame us. Some folks is generous and some ain't." I shall never forget that day. A bleak March morning, a sloppy, lonely road, and a solitary crow stalking about a snowy field, sounding so much like the Reverend that I cannot help but go away. I trudge to the train station. Ahead of me rumbles a wheelbarrow with my dilapidated possessions, and in one pocket reposes what I hope is, if not a generous, at least an honest return for 7 weeks of the hardest work I have ever done. Unable to resist the desire to see what my earnings are, I take out the pocketbook, and when I open it, I find $4. I return home, show my honorable wounds, tell my pathetic tale, and leave my parents to avenge my wrongs. The $4 goes back to the Reverend, and he never hears the end of it in that neighborhood.
Lady!
I'm coming! It is 1842, and a large wagon lumbers over certain New England hills. A benign-looking man takes it, and behind him is an energetic woman with a baby girl in her lap. 2 other little girls sit under an old shawl, and fourth girl trudges beside him as if she actually enjoys it. And there is our new abode, says the pilgrim, as they turn into a path that winds into a barren-looking valley. A little difficult of access, says his practical wife. Like all good things, says the pilgrim, of his hoped-for paradise. His wife hopes, for her part, only after years of wandering with her children to find rest and a home for her family. But alas, very little rest is to be had, for the male members of the company devote themselves to metaphysics, while the labor seems to fall upon the women. The place consists of 10 ancient apple trees, in which the pilgrims are certain that plenteous orchards are soon to be evoked, and so they christen their new domain Fruitlands. We often hold our lessons outside under the trees. A vegetable diet equals sweet repose. Animal food equals nightmare. Without a meat diet, there could be no blood-shedding war. We even deny ourselves clothing made by exploiting the wool from sheep or leather from cattle. Unfortunately, neither father nor his comrades are farmers, so our crops are poor, our fruit mealy, and we shiver in our linen dresses and our bark-sowned shoes. Louisa, what virtues do you wish more of? Patience, obedience, perseverance, and self-denial. Very good. And how shall you learn this self-denial? By resolving and trying hard. Still trying hard. At 55, but without any great success. What vices do you wish less of? Idleness, selfishness, willfulness, and love of cats. Mother wants to leave. She is so tired. Father wants to stay. We have a long talk, and we all cry. I pray to God that He keeps us all together. Your ideas are beautiful, Father, but we can't eat them. I want to reach for the sky, but my feet are too heavy and my belly growls and tells me to get back to work. And so I sit and I sit and I write and I write, and I wrap myself in the glory cloak, which is the color of autumn leaves, which reminds me that we have to eat, Father. We have to have food, Father. We can't live on air and apples and philosophy, Father. I curse you for saying we can't. Father finally admits defeat. So, on a December morning, we trudge behind an ox cart with our few possessions and ready to face the world again. Father sighs and says, "Poor Fruitlands. The name was as large a failure as all the rest." His wife says, and changes his side to a smile with a half-tender, half-satirical tone. "Don't you think Apple Swamp a better name for it, dear?" I titled a funny book I write about it many years later, Transcendental Wild Oats.
Louisa!
I'm in my 20s, and everyone is so busy about me, and no one seems to care whether I get work or live or jump into the river, that I decide to do the latter. I go over to Mill Dam and look in the water. I see a glimmer of something white. Oh, only broken ore, but it seems at one point to look like a phantom floating in the night. The fancy takes possession of me, and as it grows, I seem to see a phantom with the likeness of myself. And so restful are the folded hands, so peaceful the white face, so like yet unlike myself, that I begin to wonder which is the real me and which the imaginary Louisa. Lower and lower I bend, looser and looser my hands on the pillars, and faster the pulses in my temples, and a blind impulse seeming to urge me on until No! It is cowardly to run away before the battle is done. God winds you up, and you go until he stops you. There is work for me to have, and I will take it.
Some apples, Louisa?
I am in the garret with a pile of apples to eat, and my papers around me, and as I plan my stories and listen happily to the patter of the rain on the roof. I've decided to live and have no more time for sentimental musings, or for heeding the advice of Mr. Henry James, who told me when he wrote or when he read one of my stories that I had better stick to teaching. But the book that I wrote for Mr. Emerson's daughter, Flower Fables, has come out. And people begin to think that topsy-turvy Louisa might amount to something after all.
Louis, Beth.
Oh, yes, Mother. I will sit with Beth. You need your rest. I am 25 this month. My quarter of a century weighs heavy on my shoulders. I lead two lives. One very happy with plays and parties, and the other very sad. For though Beth loves to see me and perform, and loves to see us get ready, a shadow is there. And Mother and I both see it. Beth loves to have me with her, and says she feels strong when I'm near. But after 2 years of patient pain, she puts her work away. The needle is too heavy. She gives us her few possessions and makes ready for the departure in her own quiet, simple way. She lies in her father's arms and calls us all around her. All here, she says contentedly. Mother and I sit watching the shadow fall on the dear little face. The last breath comes, and I seem to see a light mist rise from a body and float gently in the air. Mother says she saw the same light mist, and the doctor says it was the life leaving the body visible. A few months later, I help my sister pack her wedding trunk. She and John Pratt are married the same day as mother and father were. It's a beautiful day, and the bride is beautiful in her silk gray gown. All of us arrayed in silver gray and roses. Sackcloth and ashes of roses I call it, for I mourn the loss of my dear man, and I will not be comforted. But away she goes, in her white bonnet, with her good John, waving to us happily. Mr. Emerson kissed her, and I think that honor would make even matrimony endurable, for he is the god of my idolatry and has been for years. I visited Nan in her little love nest with her mate. They are living like a pair of turtle doves, and Nan is expecting a baby soon. Very sweet and pretty, but I prefer to be an independent spinster and paddle my own canoe. My children do not love me as her children do, but they feed me, and now they are feeding Anna and her boys, since her dear John is gone. Too soon. Too soon. Food, fire, and shelter are not all that women need. Change of place is sometimes salvation for girls or women who have been too long in the place they were born in. Hospital sketches. A true account of an army nurse and of her experiences during the Civil War. Still continues a great joke to me. The people liked it. I was living the experiences as I wrote them down. Had to make a funny name for myself. and people did seem to enjoy the trials of tribulation periwinkle union nurse. Chapter 1. Obtaining supplies. I want something to do. I am now an old maid of 30. I long to be a soldier and pant for the tented field. But as I cannot do that, I decide to go and nurse the soldiers instead. After many trips to and from the recruitment offices, conversation, discussion, pleading, and demanding, I finally rushed home through the December slush, and like many another recruit, burst among my family with the announcement, "I've enlisted!" Chapter 2. A forward movement. It is now 1 o'clock. I march at 6. I have a confused recollection of spending the afternoon as an executive in a whirlwind, with my family swarming all about me, all working, talking, prophesying, and lamenting. Oh, my dear, how can I let you go? I'll stay if you say so, Mother, but I don't go, and the Lord will be with you. I return to packing my go-abroad possessions, tumble the rest into big boxes, dance on the lids until they shut, and give them to others with the instruction, if I never come back, make a bonfire of them. Train engine stretching its arrival. I make a fervent embrace of my loved ones and slip into the car with as blithe a farewell as if going on a bridal tour. As travelers like to give their own impressions of a journey, though every inch of the road may have been described a half a dozen times before, I add some notes along the way, hoping they will convince the skeptical that such a being as Nurse Periwinkle really exists, that she did go to Washington, and that these hospital sketches are not just romance. 7 p.m., spinning along to New London, Connecticut. Very comfortable, much gingerbread, and Mrs. C's fine hair, which deserves honorable mention because my first loneliness was comforted by it. 11 p.m. In the boat named The City of Boston, trying to look as if the greater portion of my life had been passed on boats, but very painfully conscious that I don't know the first thing. So I sit bolt upright and stare about me until I hear one lady say to another, "We must secure our berths." Whereupon I darted one and, while leisurely taking off my cloak, wait to discover what the second move might be. Finally, Washington. "Hurry, Bertie, ma'am! Hurry, Bertie, house, ma'am!" My heart beats faster than usual, and it strikes me that I'm very far from home. But I descend from the carriage with dignity, wondering whether I will be stopped for want of the proper forms. Marching boldly up the steps, I find that no forms are necessary, for the men fall back, the guards touch their hats, a boy opens the door, and as it closes behind me, I feel that I am fairly started, and Nurse Periwinkle's mission has begun. I stopped at the end of the walk and gazed at the sunshine over the wide meadows. It seemed like going from a dark life or grave into heaven beyond.
mission is about to end. Please find your way back to your seats. Thank you, and enjoy the show.
What is it? What's happened? Have the rebels come? Oh, let me know, dear. It's the wounded from Fredericksburg. 40 ambulances at the door, and we shall have our hands full in 15 minutes. I realize then that my hospital bed is not a bed of roses, and indulge in the unpatriotic wish that I was safe at home again. But the sight of the several stretchers with armless, legless, and desperately wounded occupants reminds me that I am here not to wonder or complain, but to work. So I tuck my feelings away and return to the path of duty. I had expected to have to defend myself from accusations of prejudice against color, but I find things just the other way. For I daily shock some neighbor by treating the blacks as I do the whites. The men will swear at the darkies, will put 2 G's into Negro, and scoff at the idea of anything good coming from such trash. The nurses are willing to be served by the colored folks, but seldom thank them, never praise, and scarcely recognize them in the street. Whereas the blood of 2 generations of abolitionists waxes hot in my veins. Happening to snatch up a little black baby toddling about the nurse's kitchen one day, when I go down to make a meal for some of my men, a Virginian woman with a sniff of approbation says to me, "Oh, goodness, Miss P, how can you? I've been here 6 months, and I've never so much as touched that little toad with a poker." "More shame for you, ma'am," says me, and I follow that blow with another by kissing the little toad with ardor. Mwah! That rash act and the anti-slavery lecture that follows, while one hand stirs gruel for sick American soldiers and the other hugs baby Africa, does not produce the cheering result I expect. For my comrade regards me as a dangerous fanatic, and my little baby protege nearly comes to his death by insisting on swarming upstairs to my room on all occasions, very much in danger of being stepped on like a little spider. New Year's Day, 1862. I celebrate the Emancipation Proclamation at midnight by racing to the window and seeing what is below. I see a crowd of black men in the street and wave my handkerchief at them, singing, "Glory, hallelujah!" Though it brings me no gifts, I rejoice in the act of justice so tardily performed for some of those about me. Chapter 5. Off duty. I am told I have typhoid fever. Doctors pay daily visits, tap at my lungs, leave doses without names, and go away, leaving me much more uncomfortable than I was before they came. I was beginning to get confused, and people look odd. I have strange fancies and dreams. I went to heaven once and found it a twilight place, lots of people darting in the air about me, all very dismal and tedious and ordinary. Letters from concerned parents come urging me to come home. Friends say, don't stay. But the 3 months is not out, and it is cowardly to leave before I have done my duty. Don't stays oppose, I will! Until one day, a figure of a gray-haired gentleman arises like a ghostly figure before me. And when he says, Louisa, come home, I say, yes, Father. And so ends my career as a nurse. I had never been ill a day in my life before that time, and I've never really been well since.
Letter from Miss Alcott?
When I wake up from the fever, I find that a story that I sent to Mr. Frank Leslie's illustrated magazine has won the prize of $100. Dear Mr. Bernard, it says. Oh, I use the name A.M. Bernard because I'm still hesitant to use my own name, and respectable young women do not write blood and thunder tales. Dear Mr. Bernard, allow me to congratulate you on your success and to recommend you submit whatever you may have of the same sort for Mr. Leslie's acceptance. I sit writing with a run at dusk. Cannot sleep, and for 3 days I am so full of my story that I cannot stop to get up. Mother makes me a silk cap with a red bow to match my hoary cloak, and thus arrayed I sit among rows of manuscripts. Mother wanders in and out with cups of tea, worried because I cannot eat, and Father thinks it's fine, and comes in with apples and his hardest cider to feed my Pegasus. Mr. A.M. Bernard goes on to write many a tale of thrilling adventure and love and horror and passion, like a perilous play and a long fatal love chase and behind a mask or the power of a woman. Yes. When alone, Miss Muir's conduct was decidedly peculiar. first act was to clench her fists and mutter between her teeth, "I'll not fail again if there is power in a woman's wit and will." Kneeling before her one small trunk, which held her worldly possessions, she opened it and drew out a flask. "Ah, merci, old friend. You put heart and courage into me when nothing else will. Come, the curtain is down, so I may be myself for a few hours, if actresses ever are themselves." Still sitting on the floor, she unbound and removed the long, abundant braids from her head, wiped the pink from her face, took out several pearly teeth, and taking off her dress, appeared indeed not like an innocent young maid of 19, but a haggard, worn, and moody woman of 30 at least. At last she rose and crept to bed, like one worn out with weariness and pain. "I'll be rich and happy and famous before I die. See if I won't." June 1863. A request from a Mr. Redpath to be allowed to print hospital sketches in a book. I say yes. So he falls to work with all his might, making all sorts of offers, suggestions, and prophecies concerning the success of the book and its author. We negotiate a contract, and I write him, "Dear Mr. Redpath, I return your contract signed, and with your request to offer a percentage of my earnings to your orphan fund. I agree that he who giveth to the poor lendeth to the Lord, but I agree with that principle, but with that principle, I choose to devote my time and my money to my poor father and mother." Counts 1864. On picket duty makes $50. Mountain letters, $20. And hospital sketches makes $200. I've done something good without knowing it. 1865. Father lectures and preachings. Not chosen for school superintendent again. But I pay up the debts and make all things easy. Earnings for 1865. $765. I will be rich and famous and happy before I die. See if I won't. Yes. Thank you for coming. I think immortality is the passing of a soul through many lives or experiences, and such as are truly lived and used may help us on to the next. 1866. Yes. I become a companion, traveling companion, to a young woman named A.W., who is going to Europe for her health. find her tiresome. But we meet a young Polish fellow named Ladislaw Wodniewski. Laddie shows us the sights and travels with us for a while. In May, I leave AW, and she goes back to Germany, and I travel to Paris alone. Laddie is there, and we have a fine time for a fortnight. Laddie's letters, notes, slept under my door daily in Paris. We were going to make history together. There's a passage in my journal with something crossed, no, slashed out. Not to be. Not good for nosy readers to have and gossip about.
Joe!
My dear boy, Gloria, I thought you'd understand. I never meant you to care for me for the fun of it. I'm not like other girls who say no when they really mean yes. I don't know why I can't love you the way you want me to, but I can't. I've tried, and I can't change the feeling, and it would be a lie to say I do when I don't. You are and I are not well suited to each other. Our quick tempers and strong wills would make us miserable if we were ever so foolish as to... I don't want to change you, and I don't want to risk our happiness by trying such a serious experiment. You'll get over this after a while, and you'll find some lovely girl who will make a fine mistress for your fine house. I wouldn't. I'm homely and awkward and old and odd, and you would be embarrassed by me. And we should quarrel, and we can't. We're quarreling even now, you see. And I shouldn't like elegant society, and you would, and you would hate my scribbling, and I can't get on without it. And we would be unhappy and wish we hadn't done it, and everything would be hard. No, I don't believe I shall ever marry. I'm happy as I am, and I love my liberty too well to give it up for any man. Laurie, you won't be reasonable, and it's selfish of you to keep asking for what I can't give. I shall always be fond of you as a friend, but I'll never marry you. And the sooner you believe it, the better for both of us. Laurie, where are you going? Laurie, don't. Teddy. Laddie! Not to be. Go away.
Miss Alcott.
No.
Louisa, please.
Very well. Father, tell Mr. Niles that if he publishes your philosophical book, then I will try to write his girl's story. Yes, Mr. Fuller, I will try to edit your children's magazine. You sit to work on both, but don't enjoy either. "1867. I am sick from too much work. I do nothing all the month and sit in a dark room and ache. February, ditto, ditto. Mother has rheumatic fever and has a bad time with her eyes. Father is lame and weak. Mother is half blind, and I'm nervous and used up generally. June, better, and begin to write. July, go to the seashore for a little rest. September, get to work again after my long vacation, for bills accumulate and worry me. I dread debt more than the devil. Christmas, 1867, a very quiet day, no presents. Christmas won't be Christmas without any presents. January, 1868. Pack for home, as I am needed there, and at Mrs. Darley's waxworks for the 3rd evening. Did it night times this week, and my voice is gone. March. Mr. N reminds me of my promise, and as he has kept his part of the bargain and is publishing Father's book, I set to work on Little Women. I plod away, although I don't enjoy this kind of thing. I never liked girls, or knew very many except my sisters. But I hope our plays and experiences may prove interesting, though I doubt it. I doubted it. That was a fine joke on me. April sent 12 chapters of L.W. to Mr. M. Oh yes, Mr. Niles, I think it's dull too. But I'm working away at the experiment, for as you say, simple, lively books are very much needed for girls. Finish Little Women and send it out. 402 pages. May is designing some pictures for it. Hope it will go. Very tired. Head full of pain from overwork and heart heavy about Marnie, who is growing feeble. But Roberts Brothers offers to publish the story. I agree, but they advise me to keep the copyright, so I do. Very wise decision, and I am very grateful to the Roberts Brothers. October, Little Women is published. The book receives favorable notices. May's pictures do not. Yes, Mr. Niles, it reads better than I expected. Not at all sensational, but simple and honest and true, for we really lived most of it. And if it is a success, it will be the reason for it. And as the girls you showed it to say it is splendid, well, as it is for them, then I am satisfied. No. No! No! Oh, very well. I will write another book about the March girls grown up. But that means that I have to write about Beth's death. I want the story to be honest and full of the joys and the tragedies of ordinary life. And I want Joe to remain a proud, independent spinster. Now, no! Oh, very well. Even you, Mother, and of course, Father and Anna and me, think that Joe should marry. Because, of course, it is the desire of all girls to be a good wife. But not Joe. I will not let Joe marry Lori. That is not to be. They are not a good match. He would be a much better match for Amy. Yes, because Lori is a musician and a businessman, just like May's husband, Ernst Nieriker. And like May, Amy is the pretty one who always gets what she wants. The husband, the career, and maybe. Why should Joe marry Laddie? I mean Lori. Joe is not Cinderella, and I distrust anything built on a foundation of glass. Oh, but if Joe has to marry, it will be someone with a name like Fritz, Professor Bear. A funny, clumsy, intellectual man, a little bit like Father, and a little bit like Mr. Emerson. He has forward thoughts about education, and he starts a boys' school, and he is successful in a way that Father never was. And Mrs. Joe helps him with his school and continues to write her stories. And she also hides from the autograph seekers who come hunting her and pretends to be the housekeeper, Maggie, just like I do. I'll be rich and famous and happy before I die. See if I won't. And so I'm thrown into a whirligig of fame with more requests for stories, for autographs, for more speeches, and more books for men, I mean for children. Little women, little men, Joe's boys, 8 cousins under the lilacs, Rose in blue, an old-fashioned girl, and Joe's scrap bag. Until my writing vortexes become bouts of vertigo, when all I want is time and space and a place to write. The Bellevue Hotel in Boston. I've been holed up for weeks writing a modern Mephistopheles simmering in my brain since I read Faust. I relish doing it. So tired of providing moral pap for the young.
The notes, Miss Alcott.
I will give you the notes for the meeting, the suffrage meeting, tomorrow. I was refreshed when I returned from the seaside, but then I went about trying to drum up women for the suffrage meeting. So hard to move people out of their old ruts. I haven't patience enough. If they won't see and work, I let them alone and go along my own way. Paddle my own canoe, sail my own ship. I have enough to do. I am so busy trying to help promote women's right to work that I have little spare time to promote women's right to vote. But I am the first woman in Concord to register. 1877, a carousel of a year, but not always a happy one. It begins well. I buy Orchard House for Nanny and her boys. Father is busy with his new book. Mother is cozy with her letters and sewing and success of her girls. May's letters from Paris are a delight, and she is working like a Trojan. Her painting is admired by masters and mates alike. And for a while, I feel very well and begin to hope I have outlived the worries and woes born of the hospital fever and the hard years following. But Marmee grows more feeble. The doctor tells me it is the beginning of the end. In October, I overdo. I'm in danger for my life for a week and fear to go before Marmee. But I pull through and get up slowly to help her die. November 25th, a rainy Sunday. She is happy all day, thinking herself with her parents and sisters at home. She lies quietly in Father's arms, and her last words to him are, "You are laying a very soft pillow for me to go to sleep on." 1878, a busy year. May marries. I live instead of dying. Father comes to honor in his old age, and Anna makes her home our refuge when we need one. I go by Orchard House. It's lonely. No Marmee or May at the windows. Marmee lies in Sleepy Hollow, and May sits in Switzerland, sewing happily for the baby who is to come soon. She also waits impatiently for my visit in the spring. People say I should not go to her. It's not safe, and I would become another invalid for the Nerrigan family to care for, as the voyage would upset me because I become so seasick. But I know I shall wish I had gone. Fitting out things in a little box, dainty things to send to May. Even lonely old spinsters take an interest in babies. On November 8th, 1878, May's little girl is born. We christen her Louisa May Alcott, and we call her Lou. I know May is not well. She is too happy to have it last. I hope this worry is just a foolish fancy, but I have never been misled by this feeling before. I hear a knock at the door. It's Mr. Emerson with a telegraph in his hand. And he is gazing sadly at May's picture on the wall. He has been sent the news by Ernst. Knowing that I am feeble and hoping that Mr. Emerson can soften the blow. My dear girl, I wish I could prepare you. But alas, I am not surprised. I'm prepared. Thank you. May felt a foreboding and put all in order. She wished me to have her baby and her pictures. All she had to give. Rich reward for the little that I could do for her. But now I have two things to care for. Father in one house with Anna and her boys, and me and Lulu in another. Too many strangers in both houses. Cooks and nurses and governesses. And my little girl has a terrible time with her little tempers and active mind and body. Well, your governess, Miss Thompson, tells me that you have misbehaved and behaved like a wild animal today. Is that true? Lulu, I will not listen to you if you only roar. I can roar just as loud as you. I can be an animal too. Now, are you ready to be a little girl and not, no, do not roar at me. Use your words, Lulu. Your words. Your words! Oh, Lulu, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to frighten you. Come back. No, don't you tickle me, you little beast. Oh, roar. Roar. Now, yes, that is my little girl. Why don't you use your words, and then you can get up and you can tell me. Oh, hello, Miss Thompson. Yes, I know. You told me to speak to you, and I was just about to ask her, Lulu, why don't you go to your room? We'll talk later. I have to talk to Miss Thompson now. Right. Go ahead. Go. Yes, Miss Thompson. Yes, I know you asked me to speak to Lulu. In fact, you asked me to punish her. You asked me to spank her. You know, Miss Thompson, if you would try a little play or gentleness with your charge, she might behave. My father never spanked me or my sisters. But I have spanked my child once on New Year's Day. It was a terrible way to begin a new year. And it hurt both me and my child. She did not believe I would do it and said, go on. So of course I had to. And then we both started crying. And I have never struck her since, and I never will, and I will not allow accept your resignation. I will give you a fair notice. You are not a cruel woman, Miss Thompson, just a cold and unimaginative one.
Miss Alcott.
I find one of the compensations of age is that it seems to bring young people nearer to me. You are the girls from Boston University. How many of you are there? Oh, 40! Well, it is pleasant to see so much enthusiasm about such a thing as a used-up old woman. Yes, I am the author of Little Women. You know I have written many other books besides Little Women, don't you? Work is one of my personal favorites. It is about a young woman, very much the same age of all of you, who does many things in her life in order to earn her living and her liberty. Like I did before writing and paying the bills. She is a seamstress and a laundress and a governess and even an actress. Just like I was for a while. But I could never earn my living at it. Oh, your favorite of my books is An Old-Fashioned Girl. That's one of my favorites too. Because Polly, the heroine, is a strong, sensible, independent young girl and not an old-fashioned girl in the way that some people might think of one. Let me read one of my favorite chapters to you. Here it is. The chapter where Polly and some of her friends are trying to decide what is the best way to make a statue of a woman, the new woman, the future woman. What women should be, the coming woman. A statue that is bigger, lovelier, and more imposing than any we see nowadays. And at the same time, she is a true woman and not a mythical goddess. See what a fine forehead, yet the mouth is both firm and tender, as if it could say wise, strong things, as well as to teach children and babies. I can't decide what to put in her hands as the most appropriate symbol of the new woman. Oh, not a scepter. We've had enough of that. Women have been called queens a long time, but the kingdom given them isn't worth much. Not a man's hand in hers either. Because this woman is to stand alone and help herself. No, not even a child in her arms, for she is to be something more than a housekeeper or baby tender. A ballot box? Yes, let's put that with the other symbols at her feet, for we have needle, pen, palette, and broom to suggest the various talents she owns, and the ballot box will show she has earned the right to use them. Girls, if you're going to catch hold of the future and give it the right turn, it's going to take some time. Women ain't stood alone for long. They'll need a sight of boost. Oh, that's from work. Oh, and so is this. I stretch my hands to the friends about me, and with one accord, they lay their hands upon mine. A loving league of sisters, old and young, rich and poor, black and white, each ready to do her part to hasten the coming of the happy end. I wonder if the time will ever come when women can earn a little money and success and not have so be a price to pay for it. I saw a man in her nest today with her mate, living happily like a pair of turtle doves. I have made provision for her and her boys. Dr. Wesselhoff, you had better let me get the ideas out, and then I will rest. I'm planning Joe's boys to the end and long to get up and write. My head is working like a steam engine. I cannot stop. Yes, I've finished Joe's boys. It's not good. Too many interruptions. I am so used up with worry in my stomach.
Miss Alcott, I must
Mr.
insist.
Dr. W, I must dismiss you. I need newer remedies and faster remedies. Life has always been a puzzle to me, but I shall puzzle it out and see that it's all right by and by. I went for a run this morning and stood at the end of the walk and watched the sun shine out over the wide meadows. It seemed like going through a dark grave or life into heaven beyond. It is February 1888. I am in Rhoda Lawrence's rest home in Roxbury. I have another year to spend in my saint's rest, and then I am promised 20 more years of health. I don't want so many and don't know that I shall ever see them. November 1887, my 55th birthday. I don't remember my presents, but I must have had many. January 1st, 1888. A lonely New Year's Day. My legs ache. I have bouts of vertigo. I miss my long runs in the woods. March. I set out on a bleak March morning home to see Father. He lies sleeping, hears music, and talks to Mother. He lies dreaming peacefully away. Father, here is your Louis. What are you thinking of as you lie there so happily? I am going up. Louisa, come with me. Oh, I wish I could. He smells my flowers and asks me to write him a letter. I'm in the carriage, returning from my visit to Father. I see the doors of Dr. Lawrence's rest house. My eyes ache, and there's a terrible weight on my head. I hold on for others, but the idea of giving up so soon is accepting defeat. A very strange and solemn feeling is coming over me. Oh, don't stay. A Suppose I will. Father. Father. Have you come to take me home? But my rooms are still in confusion. God winds you up and you go until he stops you. I have left some notes along the way. I feel in this life that we are learning to enjoy a high. Rest, weary brain. Thy task is done. The burden of the day is past. Thy wages earned and freely paid. The holiday begins at last. Rest and rejoice in thy one gift. For sure it is a happy art to conquer fate with friends and love enshrined in many a childish heart. Moral pap for the young. I've done a good thing without knowing it.
Louisa, come home.
I am ready to go home with you now, Father. To paddle our canoes. Up, or forward, or back again. Or wherever this adventure takes us next.